Okay, so today's project is to fix this retaining wall. So I put this retaining wall in maybe 4 or 5 months ago. It was part of the foundations for the garage base. As you can see, it's quite a slope here, and the edge of the garage is coming right out to it. So that pile there goes down about 4 meters, so that's pretty solid. But yeah, I needed some way of sort of retaining the soil around it. So I put this retaining wall in, and as you can see on this side, that's nice and solid. But on this side we seem to have had a bit of movement, and the actual wall has pushed out. I've not managed to actually get these fixed in here properly before putting the weight of the soil in. And I think what's happened there is, I think I've ended up being a little bit short with the post, and what I'll do is I'll remove the soil, push the posts that way so they lock in better, and then just put a piece of wood down there just to stop that popping back out again. It could be that this has had a slight bit of movement on it, but I doubt it. They were in pretty solid. So as soon as I've got the trenching bucket on the excavator, I think I'll come in here and remove majority of that soil and try and get this issue fixed. Okay, so I've got as much soil as I can remove with the excavator there. I think if I start doing any more work with the excavator with my skills, I'll end up damaging that back wall and that. So I think this is majority of the soil out to allow me to do the next part of the job. I'll get the shovel out and we'll soon have this fixed up. This is seriously wet. So what we had with this retaining wall was, first post that went down was short, purposely short. And the other two posts just sat on top, and as you can tell, locked into the post at both ends. So that's how the post was designed to sit. So as you can see, it's locked in there, and at this end is just a steel dowel, piece of Rio there, just stopping this post moving. The other posts sit on top of that. If I can get them all locked in at this end really firmly, and then I'll just put a packer at the other end to hold them in place, and then backfill. Seriously heavy. Red gum. See, when I get that in place, it's actually really well locked in. again, as you can see now, when they're actually installed correctly and pushed as far as they'll go, they're actually pretty well locked in. But yeah, that's the issue, is it looks, maybe actually does look like that post might have moved with all the weight going on the top of it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer in a star picket into that gap, and that should ensure that those posts are always pushed that way, which will make sure they don't actually jump out again. That's not really tight, but as you can see, it is enough to actually push that as far to the left as we can. And the concern I'm going to have is whether that's going to end up jumping out of there at this back of the post. Very good fix in here, all the way down. Looking at it, it looks like it's just this bit. It looks like it has got at least 1 centimetre and more than 1 centimetre down here holding it in. So I'm going to call that good and backfill, and we'll see how we go. If I have a problem, might have to get in and manoeuvre that post, or end up just putting in a long star picket here just to hold it in place. I'm going to call this good and start the backfill. So I'm going to call this done. Oh, just push straight back out again. Nah, that's not done. So it's still held down here, but this one just comes loose straight away. Alright, start again. So I think after looking at this, the issue is when this sits all the way in there, it's absolutely solid that way, but what I've got is a heap of load going that way, which actually slides this out. So as it sits in there, the force isn't in that direction, it's actually kind of that away with all the weight of that wall. So somehow I need to get all this soil out, pin these back in. What I might do is I might deepen that groove there, so I can actually get this, especially this top one, get it much further in here. And then I'll see if there's a way that I can actually get that secured. I mean, one way would be to weld a plate on here that actually came round at an angle that I could screw to it. The other way, I suppose, is if I can get these all the way in, is to drill a hole through here and put a big screw in, fix them in place so they can't come out. But let's get that soil excavated back out of the way and clean all this up and have another go. So I've got this, got all the soil emptied back out again. Have another good look and a think, and yeah, pretty clear now what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut the groove so these sit really tight into here. Then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to drill through here, through the steel, and into the timber on the other side. So the hole in here is going to be a clearance hole, and I'm going to put a big wood screw, 2 wood screws in each one, and that will actually pin this through the steel into this piece of timber. That should be a really strong joint. That saves me having to go back, mess around, get a welder and everything else. So I'll get all this set up, get the holes marked, take it apart, drill the holes, and then we'll take it from there. Fingers crossed that'll be it, and it won't come free again. Okay, so the groove on here, I'm just opening it out using a Makita reciprocating saw to cut that slot a little bit bigger. Done 2 already. As you can see, with that slot larger, I'm able to actually force that right into the corner a lot further than it was before. So hopefully that's going to help as well. Okay, took a little bit more out of there with the reciprocating saw, and that does sit in here. It sits in a little bit better, not as tight as the other ones, but I think I've cut that at the wrong angle at some point. So now the job's going to be, mark these holes, drill the holes all the way through, and mark where the corresponding point will be on the steel. Take it all apart, and then drill a through hole into the steel, and then it'll be a case of installing these. So this will actually be that arrangement. So I'm really hoping that that works. It's a pretty substantial screw, decking screw. So fingers crossed that'll work nicely and hold it all together, and I won't have any more issues with this falling apart. So I turned my attention to this end to see how I could actually keep all this together, because as you saw earlier, it was actually starting to pop out of here. That post felt by hand to be really solid. I started giving it a whack with a hammer, and the persuader managed to move it. As you can see, it's moved it to about 20 centimeters there. So what I think I'll also do is put a couple of those screws in the end to try and keep this and this together, and then it'll actually become one complete unit. So I doubt whether once all of this lot is all tied together and that's all tied together, I'll actually get any more movement whatsoever, even if I do get a little bit more settlement with that post. But that post is in the ground there. It's a 2 meter post, so it's in the ground at least 1.5 meters, maybe even a little bit more. Okay, so I'm back on this job again today. So back with the drills. So I'll start the process now of drilling through, marking into the steel. I'll then remove the post and then put a clearance hole in the steel post, and then go and put some decking screws back in and secure it all together. Okay, time to put the post back in and secure with the screws or the bolts. It's getting really slippery now. Try and fix the first one in. Now we just need to sort out the level. That's high at that end. That's close enough. So now I'll just repeat that on the other two and this will be finished. So with these you drive them in as they start jamming up, back and back as they jam up, back and back out again, back in, as they slow down, back and back out, and then a final push home. And as you can see, this is sitting in absolutely solid in there, that's not going anywhere. I'll be able to backfill that today. Now for the third one. Okay, so as you can see we've got beam number 3 in now. So all 3 are now nicely secured, held in place. These are not going to come undone again. I was contemplating last time actually putting a screw in the end here. Considering how hard it was to actually drill into this without a magnetic drill, I think I'm just going to leave that for now. I'll give that a bash on the end, see if I can just at least close the gap up a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to leave that for now and start the backfill. Okay, so that's it. I'm not going to try and smooth this out anymore while it's all so wet. It'll dry off and I'll be able to finish it off. But as you can see, it's actually secured in place now. Looking a heck of a lot better than it was. And yeah, I'm going to say this little project, this little job is done.